Have you ever just, stared at a blank page
Hmm.
or maybe that blinking cursor and you feel the weight of all this information you need to get across, but you're just not sure how to make it, well, land?
Uh-huh. It's a really common feeling.
Yeah, trying to cut through all the noise, make your message clear, and actually connect with people. What if there was like a powerful shortcut, a way to become a more confident, insightful writer, and maybe even turn that struggle into something, I don't know, enjoyable?
That's a great question.
Well, today we're diving deep into John Warner's book, The Writer's Practice, Building Confidence in Your Nonfiction Writing. And this isn't just some run-of-the-mill writing guide.
No, definitely not.
Publishers Weekly called its style an informal, intelligent conversation. And get this, Booklist suggested it could turn any determined reader into a regular Malcolm Gladwell.
Wow. That's quite the endorsement.
It is a bold claim, right? And it definitely grabbed our attention.
Mine too. And our insights today, they come straight from excerpts of the writer's practice itself. So we're looking at those reviews, but also, crucially, specific bits where Warner explains his whole unique approach.
Okay.
He talks about writing not as these scary assignments, but as writing experiences. That little shift in wording, it tells you so much about the change in mindset he's going for.
That's a really powerful distinction, yeah. And it sort of sets up our mission for today, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which is to pull out those essential insights from Warner's work. We want to show you how you can build real confidence in your nonfiction writing by using his, well, very practical and engaging approach.
Exactly.
So let's start there. What does he actually mean when he calls writing a practice?
Well, what's so interesting is how Warner just flips the script on how we usually think about writing. He says it's not some, magic talent you're born with.
Right. Either you have it or you don't.
Exactly. Instead, he frames it as a practice, like a lifelong journey. Think about a musician practicing scales, maybe, or an athlete working on their technique.
Okay.
You're always developing skills, certain habits of mind, building up knowledge. And there's this great line he has: you're going to spend your whole life learning how to write, and then you're going to die.
That sounds a bit grim.
It does at first, but it's not meant that way. It's actually kind of comforting. It means writing never gets boring because there's always more to figure out, more to explore.
Okay, I see that. So writing isn't just about, like, recording your thoughts. It's actually generating them.
Precisely.
That's a huge mental shift.
Yeah.
Because often you sit down thinking, okay, I need to have everything perfectly figured out before I start writing.
Right, the pressure's immense.
But Warner's shortcut seems to be, writing isn't just showing what you know, it's the act of discovery. Your keyboard, your pen, whatever, it's a tool to find ideas you didn't even know you had.
Exactly. He says the base unit of writing is the idea. And fundamentally, writing is thinking. Drafting isn't just, typing up notes.
Uh-huh.
It's a stage of discovery. New ideas pop up in real time. And it's okay. Actually, it's good if ideas come out of order or slowly. The writing itself lets the thinking happen.
And it ties right into the audience, doesn't it? He seems to put a huge emphasis on the audience.
Absolutely central.
Yeah, he has this brilliant exercise, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich instructions.
Oh, yeah, the PB&J test. Classic.
Right. He asks all sorts of people, students, professional writers, to write instructions for making one. Sounds easy.
You'd think.
But almost everyone messes it up. Why? Because they forget to think about someone who's, like, never made one before, an inexperienced audience. I actually tried this myself once.
Well, you did. How'd it go?
Terrible. I realized how many assumptions I made. I was picturing myself making the sandwich, not someone totally clueless.
That's exactly his point. It's a perfect illustration of what he calls analyzing the rhetorical situation.
Okay, what does that involve?
It means you're always thinking about your message for a specific purpose, communicating it to a specific audience within a specific medium or genre.
Right.
The key elements are genre, purpose, author, audience, and message. The PB&J thing just shows crystal clear. If you don't actively define your audience and what they know or don't know, you're probably going to be, well, careless, inconsiderate even. You'll miss the mark.
Okay, so foundationally, writing is a practice, it's thinking, and it's always for an audience. That's the groundwork. But how do we actually get those ideas onto the page in a way that, pops? He has some specific skill drills for that, right?
He does, and one that's immediately useful is what he calls the power of specificity.
Specificity, okay.
He points out how words like most, many, few, or beautiful, never, always, they're super abstract, they depend entirely on context, and can make your writing really vague.
Yeah, I can see that. Beautiful means different things to different people.
Exactly. He uses a great example. If you just say dog, everyone imagines something different.
Sure, could be a poodle, could be a Great Dane.
Right. Big black dog helps a bit, but then he gives you this little black dog with a graying muzzle and dabs of white on his toes and a slightly wonky right eye.
Ah, now I see that dog.
That's his dog, Truman. Suddenly, you have this vivid, specific image. It shows how concrete details don't just paint a picture, they make writing come alive. And they're easier for your reader to remember. It's a shortcut to making a connection.
That specificity really does make a difference. But Warner goes even further, right? There's this other exercise. Who are they? That sounds intriguing.
It really is. You look at someone's keys, he uses his own as an example. 2 door keys, 2 car keys, Toyota and Fiat, and this old Illinois keychain.
Okay.
And you just make observations first. Then you start drawing inferences about the owner. What's cool is he then tells you the real story behind his keys.
Ah, so you see where you went right or wrong.
Exactly. It shows the limits of observations in drawing conclusions. Like, you might guess his age wrong or assume he went to Illinois based on a keychain from 1988.
So it's about seeing and interpreting, but carefully.
Precisely. And it's actually rooted in something called semiotics.
Semiotics.
Yeah, the study of signs and symbols, how everyday things convey meaning. This exercise teaches you not just to observe, but to think about what those observations might signify, and crucially, to realize when you might be jumping to conclusions based on stereotypes or just not enough info.
So you're building knowledge from observation, but also understanding the gaps.
You got it.
And speaking of experience, he also talks about using our own memories, right? Like with sense memory.
Yes, this is a great one. He suggests putting music you love on shuffle. Let a random song just transport you back somewhere. See if it triggers sensory details you'd forgotten, smells, sounds, feelings. It helps you tap into subconscious stuff, bring an experience alive with senses, even if, as he says, it's not for anyone but yourself. It's just for discovery.
Like mining your own past for vivid details.
Exactly. And then building on that, there's the adventure report, or you did what exercise. This is more purposeful.
Okay.
The idea is to show, not just tell your audience about some adventure. It could be anything, even just a walk around the block. But you experience it without taking photos or videos.
Interesting constraint. Why?
So you rely purely on your senses. Afterwards, you immediately write down what you saw, smelled, tasted, touched, heard. It forces that show, not tell approach, making even small experiences feel real for the reader.
Okay, so we've got the core ideas, the power of specifics, observation, sense memory. But what about the very first thing someone sees? The title.
Ah, yes. Crucial. Warner compares a bad title to a bad handshake.
Ah, I like that.
If it doesn't grab you, if it's awkward or weak, the reader might just move on.
Makes sense.
He tells this story about one of his own short stories called The Circus Elephants Look Sad Because They Are.
That's a very specific title.
It is, and he credits that evocative title, specifically, with getting the story noticed and reviewed. It highlights that a good title isn't just a label, it gets attention. And of course, it has to fit the audience and the occasion. It's not just tacked on at the end.
Right, it's part of the whole package.
Okay.
So foundation, skills.
Mm.
What about navigating the messy stuff? Information, arguments, how people perceive things.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Warner brings in Daniel Kahneman's research, the Nobel Prize winner.
Oh, thinking fast and slow. That Kahneman.
That's the one. He talks about Kahneman's idea of the experiencing self versus the remembering self.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
Well, basically, how we remember an event isn't always the same as how we felt during it. Our memory tends to overweight the peaks, and especially the end of an experience.
Like how losing your wallet on the last day of vacation can ruin the memory of the whole trip.
Exactly that example. Even if 85% of the trip was fantastic, that bad ending can taint the entire memory.
Huh. And how does that apply to writing?
Warner points out it applies to writing projects, even to learning itself. A student might remember a writing class as worthwhile, mainly based on the final grade.
Rather than the actual process of learning and struggling and discovery.
Precisely. It makes you think about how our perception, our memory of even a big learning journey like writing can get skewed by the outcome. It's a good reminder to value the process, not just the final product.
That's a really important point. Okay, so that leads into some deeper analytical stuff he covers.
Yeah, some really cool exercises like the conspiracy theory analysis. The title is, If It Isn't True, Why Do People Believe It?
Ooh, intriguing.
He uses examples like, remember the urban legend about Mikey from the Life cereal commercials dying from eating Pop Rocks and soda?
Vaguely, yeah. Or the Mandela effect, like people remembering Chick-fil-A instead of Chick-fil-A.
Exactly, those kinds of things. The exercise teaches you to investigate, to debunk, but also, and this is key, to understand why these beliefs stick around, what makes them compelling.
So it's not just about being right.
No, it's about understanding the psychology. And he stresses the importance of tone, avoiding that know-it-all attitude if you actually want to persuade someone.
Right, because that just makes people defensive. Tone is crucial.
Definitely. Then there's rhetorical analysis, looking beyond the surface of texts. And text can be anything, right? Like TV commercials.
Analyzing commercials, how so?
Looking for the subtext, what are they really selling you? He uses an example of a Corona Light ad about some guy named Stan.
Okay.
And when you analyze it, Warner argues, it's selling the idea that work is miserable and the only relief one gets from that misery is partying. It's a deeper read of something that just looks like a beer ad.
Wow, finding the hidden message.
Yeah. And he does the same with humor. He analyzes a joke Tina Fey and Amy Poehler told about George Clooney.
Huh?
He explains how humor often works because of incongruity, that surprising clash between what you expect and what happens.
Right, the unexpected twist.
But that twist, that incongruity, can also reveal deeper cultural truths. In the Clooney joke example, maybe it subtly highlights how even accomplished women sometimes get reduced to being red carpet accessories for famous husbands.
Huh. So humor isn't just funny, it's analytical.
It can be. The goal is to help the audience see meaning they may not have immediately grasped, making the implicit explicit.
That's powerful. And he pushes this analysis even further, right, into things like
Yeah.
alternate history.
Yeah. Exercises like playing the pundit, alternate history, judging the apocalypse. Sounds kind of wild, but
But it's about rigorous thinking.
exactly, like the
Okay.
alternate history one. He challenges you to explore what-if scenarios. What if the Portland Trailblazers hadn't picked Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan in the '84 draft?
Oh, wow, that changes NBA history completely.
Right. It sounds fun, but doing it well requires serious research and inductive reasoning. You have to trace the potential ripple effects, figure out where patterns would break, build a plausible new reality. All through writing. It forces you to see past the past, understand how tiny deviations create entirely new futures.
That sounds like an amazing mental workout.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're analyzing things deeply. But in today's world, where does the information come from? Trusting sources is huge.
Absolutely critical. Warner introduces a technique called lateral reading in the Why Should I Trust This section.
Lateral reading, what's that?
It's a vital process for checking stuff online, instead of just staying on one website and trying to figure out if it's legit from there.
Which can be really hard.
Right. You leave the site, you open new tabs, and quickly search what other sources say about the original site or the author. It's like getting a second opinion fast.
That makes so much sense, like fact-checking the source itself.
Exactly. He has this powerful quote. Credible information is to civic engagement what clean air and water are to public health.
Wow, that really lands.
It underlines how essential this skill is. It's a shortcut to cutting through misinformation and avoiding, confirmation bias, just believing things because they fit what you already think.
Such a crucial skill today. Okay, so you find good sources through lateral reading. How do you then use them in your writing?
Well, he talks about summary and response. A good summary isn't just repeating, it distills the original text down to its core meaning.
But it's to the essence.
Right. And then it allows you to extend the conversation with your own argument, your own take. He connects this to the idea that reading itself is hard work.
It really is. Active reading takes effort.
Yeah, but deliberate active reading, where you're constantly checking your understanding, actually saves time in the long run. It makes you a much more effective user of information.
So read smarter, not just harder.
You got it. And this ties into another point about truth in writing. He questions the whole idea of pure objectivity.
Oh, what's his take?
He argues that striving for some impossible, godlike objectivity is often unrealistic. Instead, writers should aim for transparency, fairness, accuracy, and openness. Meaning, be upfront about your perspective, acknowledge potential biases you might have. He thinks this actually builds more trust with the audience than pretending to have no viewpoint at all.
Honesty over a facade of objectivity.
Interesting. Okay, this is all great for thinking and analyzing. What about practical communication, like solving problems?
Yeah, he has a great pair of exercises for this. One is the, are you trying to make me angry? Letter, basically a conflict letter. The other is the, how can I help you help me letter, a solution letter.
Conflict versus solution. Big difference.
Huge. Venting your anger on paper might feel good for a minute.
Cathartic, maybe?
Yeah, but the solution letter, that requires maximum rhetorical sensitivity. It's a total mindset shift. You have to focus on the other person's perspective, figure out what they need, and propose solutions that work for everyone.
Thinking about we, not just me. Exactly. Which leads perfectly into collaboration. Writing isn't always a solo sport.
Right, like writers' rooms for TV shows.
Exactly. Or technical writing teams putting together manuals. Warner points out that real-world writing is often collaborative. And to do it well, you need this healthy mix of ego and humility.
Ego and humility, how does that work?
You need enough ego, enough confidence to put your ideas out there to contribute, but you also need the humility to listen, to accept when someone else's idea is better, to build on things together.
That's a tough balance to strike.
It really is.
And after all this writing, collaborating, how do we keep getting better? Feedback seems crucial.
Absolutely. And Warner makes a key distinction here between summative feedback and formative feedback.
Summative versus formative.
Summative is like the final grade. It evaluates the end product. Formative feedback is like advice from a coach during practice. It's meant to help you improve while you're still working on it.
So one's judgment, the other's guidance.
Pretty much. Useful feedback, he says, gives you actionable information, things you can actually do to get better, and he encourages you to actively seek out that formative feedback, even if it's not formally offered. And also, just to reflect yourself. Your own ability to look at your writing critically is a huge tool.
Self-reflection is feedback. I like that.
And this focus on improvement goes right down to the word level, the precision of language.
Getting the words just right.
Yes. He quotes Mark Twain, you know the one, about the difference between the lightning bug and lightning.
Ah, yeah. The difference between the right word and the almost right word.
Exactly. Small changes can have huge shifts in impact. He also uses this incredible example from a David Foster Wallace essay, where Wallace uses the word flesh instead of maybe skin, and that one word choice, flesh, creates this immediate visceral reaction in the reader. It shows how precise word choice can just elevate everything, change the whole emotional feel.
Wow. Words really are powerful.
Immense.
So as we kind of wrap this up, Warner brings it back to the idea of the writer's journey being continuous. Right?
He does. He talks about looking back at his own graduate thesis like decades later. And even after writing professionally for years, he could see this clear difference between that early work and his later published stories.
Even he was still evolving.
Always. He quotes Hemingway, "We're all apprentices in a craft where no one ever becomes a master."
It's humbling.
It is. And that perspective, that failure isn't the end, it's just part of learning, it's a teacher.
Yep.
That's the real key to improving over a lifetime.
So it's okay not to be perfect.
It's more than okay. It's expected. Warner basically says writing will always be hard work, but that's exactly why it stays interesting, why there's always more to learn. It's almost a relief, isn't it, knowing you're always going to be a student of the craft.
It really is, actually. Take some pressure off. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Warner's core ideas, those essential skills like specificity and observation, how to navigate information and arguments, practical strategies, lifelong growth.
It's a rich toolkit.
Definitely. This deep dive gives you, the listener, a way to approach writing not as this, like, terrifying chore, but as a series of engaging experiences, ways to foster growth, critical thinking, and communication that actually connects.
And maybe we can leave you with one final thought from Warner. It really captures the spirit of all this. He says, "This isn't a research paper that repeats a bunch of stuff others have said previously. It's a work by a unique intelligence that would not exist if you had not created it."
Wow. Think about that for a second. What does that mean for your own communication? What unique ideas, what unique intelligence do you have just waiting to be uncovered and shared through the practice of writing?